Let's talk about the most ambitious project on the planet right now. A transformation so huge, it's literally changing the face of the Earth. Forget your friend's startup. This is a project that's redrawing the world map, shifting economies, and rewriting the rules of global trade. It's called China's Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, a vision that's as bold as it is controversial. Imagine giant ports springing up on distant coastlines, super-fast trains slicing through mountains and deserts, and highways stretching across entire continents, linking cities and countries like never before. This isn't some sci-fi fantasy, it's happening right now, in real time, with cranes, concrete, and billions of dollars on the line. The BRI is a global infrastructure plan so massive, it makes every other development project look tiny by comparison. We're talking about a network that could connect over 60 countries and impact 2/3 of the world's population. We'll break down what the BRI is, why China's spending over $1 trillion, and take you on a tour of some of the most jaw-dropping projects ever attempted. We'll compare it to what America's doing, and spoiler alert, the scale and ambition aren't even close. The difference is staggering, but it's not all shiny bridges and happy deals. There are real challenges, risks, and controversies along the way. The BRI has its share of drama, debt traps, global rivalries, and countries that are starting to push back against China's influence. We'll focus on India, a major neighbor and global player that's not on board with the BRI, and why that matters for the future of the region. By the end, you'll see how this project is reshaping the world, creating new connections, new opportunities, and yes, new tensions that could define the next century. So grab some popcorn. This story has money, power, ambition, and a whole lot of concrete. Let's dive in and see how the world's biggest glow-up is unfolding before our eyes. What is the BRI? You've probably heard the term, but what does it really mean, and why is it making headlines around the world? The Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, is China's signature global project, officially launched in 2013 by President Xi Jinping. It's a bold vision to reshape international trade and development. Inspired by the legendary Silk Road that once connected China to Europe and beyond, the BRI is a modern network of land and sea routes designed to boost connectivity and economic cooperation. The Belt refers to overland corridors, think highways, high-speed railways, and bridges stretching across Asia and into Europe. The road is actually the sea, an ambitious chain of ports and shipping lanes linking China to Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, creating new maritime highways for global trade. Imagine a vast, interconnected web of steel, concrete, and fiber optics radiating out from China, spanning continents and oceans, touching dozens of countries. Nearly 150 countries have signed up to participate, representing about 2/3 of the world's population and economic output. That's a massive global reach. China is building power plants in Pakistan, railways in Kenya, and ports in Greece. Just a few examples of hundreds of projects underway across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The goal? To make global trade flow through Chinese-built channels, giving China a central role in the world's supply chains and commerce. But it's not just about roads and ports. The BRI also includes energy pipelines, digital networks, and even satellite links, building the infrastructure of the future. China has already spent over $1 trillion on these projects, with $92 billion invested in 2024 alone. The scale of investment is staggering and it keeps growing. This is the largest infrastructure investment in modern history, dwarfing anything the world has seen before. China isn't just the world's factory anymore. It's positioning itself as the world's architect, designer, and builder of tomorrow's global economy. The BRI is about making China the hub of global commerce, connecting people, goods, and ideas on an unprecedented scale. And with new projects breaking ground every year, the Belt and Road Initiative is just getting started, reshaping the world one connection at a time. Why would China spend $1 trillion on this? It's not charity, it's strategy. The Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, is one of the most ambitious projects in modern history, and every dollar spent is part of a bigger plan. China isn't just giving away money, it's investing in its own future, and reshaping the world in the process. First, economics. China had too many factories and construction companies sitting idle. After years of rapid growth, the country built up massive industrial capacity. But as domestic demand slowed, these factories and workers needed new projects to stay busy. The BRI became a lifeline, channeling China's surplus steel, cement, and expertise into building roads, railways, and ports abroad. The BRI lets China export its industrial overcapacity, keeping its economy humming. By finding new markets for its goods and services, China keeps its factories running and its people employed. It's a way to turn potential economic problems into global opportunities. Second, security. China relies on oil imports that pass through risky choke points like the Strait of Malacca. This narrow stretch of water is a lifeline for China's energy needs, but it's also a vulnerability. Any disruption could threaten the entire economy. By building new routes like pipelines through Pakistan and developing ports such as Gwadar, China secures its energy supply. These projects create alternative pathways for oil and goods, reducing the risk of being cut off and giving China more control over its own destiny. Third, power. The US has global influence through alliances and military bases spread across the world. This network allows America to project power and shape international events. China's building its own network. By funding infrastructure, it wins friends and influence. Each bridge, railway, and port is a new connection, tying other countries closer to China economically and politically. Countries that get Chinese investment are more likely to support China on the world stage. These relationships can translate into votes at the United Nations, trade deals, and diplomatic backing when it matters most. The BRI is a soft power play, using concrete instead of aircraft carriers. It's about building influence through development, not just military might. Finally, reputation. China wants to be known for high tech, not just cheap goods. The country is eager to show the world it can innovate and lead in advanced industries. The BRI showcases Chinese technology, high-speed rail, 5G, smart ports. These projects are advertisements for China's capabilities, demonstrating what the country can offer to the world. It's a global marketing campaign for Made in China 2.0. China wants to upgrade its image from the world's factory to a leader in innovation and quality. The BRI is about jobs, security, influence, and showing the world what China can do. It's a multi-layered strategy that touches every part of China's rise. It's a master plan to move up the global ladder, and it's working. China is no longer just a participant in the global economy, it's becoming a leader, setting the agenda for the future. The world is watching and reacting. The next chapter, how other countries are responding to China's big move. Time for a world tour of BRI's biggest projects. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, $65 billion for roads, railways, and pipelines, giving China direct access to the Indian Ocean. In Kenya, China built the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway, slashing travel time and boosting trade. Across Africa, China's built thousands of kilometers of railways and highways. In Greece, China's Costco turned the port of Piraeus into a top European hub, China's gateway to the EU. In Peru, the new Chanquay megaport connects South America directly to Asia, cutting shipping times and costs. These aren't just construction projects, they're strategic assets. The BRI is building a China-centric world, one mega project at a time. From Asia to Africa to Europe to Latin America, the map is changing, and China's at the center. How does America's global building compare? In 2024, China spent $92 billion on BRI projects, the US spent $60 billion worldwide. America's projects are big, like the $4.5 billion Gordie Howe Bridge to Canada, but BRI projects dwarf them. The BRI is hundreds of projects all under one strategic vision. US initiatives like Power Africa focus on partnerships and private investment, while China writes the big checks itself. The West has promised alternatives, but nothing matches BRI's scale or speed. China's approach is state-driven, fast and massive. While America builds bridges, China is building a new world order. The difference? Vision, money, and ambition. And right now, China's winning the infrastructure race. Here's the controversy. Is the BRI a lifeline or a trap? Critics say China lends big, then takes control when countries can't pay up. The poster child, Sri Lanka's Hambantota port. When Sri Lanka couldn't repay, China got a 99-year lease. Similar stories are playing out in the Maldives and Pakistan, where debt to China is piling up. Some say it's a strategy to gain strategic assets. Others call it normal business. China denies any trap, insisting it's just helping countries develop. But secretive contracts and tough terms fuel suspicion. The truth? It's complicated. Some countries benefit, others struggle. The BRI's impact depends on who you ask and where you look. Is China a generous partner or a clever lender? Maybe both. The debate isn't going away. The BRI isn't just about economics, it's about power. When China controls a port, it gains strategic leverage, not just trade routes. US military planners worry. Could Chinese-run ports be used by China's Navy in a crisis? In places like the Panama Canal, Chinese-linked companies operate key ports, raising alarms in Washington. The BRI is creating a global network of Chinese-controlled strategic points. The digital Silk Road is another front. Chinese tech giants are building telecom networks worldwide. The West fears these networks could be used for surveillance or influence. The US has pressured allies to ban Huawei from 5G networks. It's a battle for control of the world's infrastructure, physical and digital. China's also building its own development bank, creating a parallel system to the West's. The BRI is China's blueprint for a new world order, with Beijing at the center. It's changing the rules of global power, and the competition is just heating up. Not everyone's on board, especially India. India sees the BRI as a threat, with China building projects all around its borders. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor runs through disputed Kashmir, which India claims as its own. For India, that's a red line, a violation of sovereignty. India also fears China's growing naval presence in the Indian Ocean, calling it a string of pearls encirclement. In response, India is working with Japan and the US on rival projects and security alliances. The India-China rivalry over the BRI is shaping Asia's future. The standoff is far from over. So, where does the BRI go from here? It's already transformed global infrastructure, connecting regions and accelerating development. But it's also sparked debt crises, rivalries, and a new era of competition. China says it'll make the BRI greener and more sustainable, shifting to smaller, targeted projects. But the core goal remains: connect the world to China, economically and politically. The BRI is the engine of China's global strategy for the 21st century. The roads and ports built today will shape trade, politics, and power for decades. The world your children inherit is being built right now, with Chinese blueprints. Is the BRI a gift, a trap, or something in between? Let us know what you think in the comments. This is one story you can't ignore. The future is under construction.